Canon is testing 5 telephoto and super telephoto lenses with plans to release one of these alongside the Canon EOS R1 in 2022. All the candidates for release have diffractive optics, are image stabilized, and are USM. We have two 400mm, one being an f3.5 and the other being an f4. We have two 500mm, one being an f4.5 and the other being an f5, and an 800mm f9.5. According to Canon Rumors, one source says that the 500mm f5 has achieved the best results in testing and right now is the lead candidate to be announced alongside the R1 in 2022. As I talked about in this video published this weekend, the Canon EOS R1 is going to have some amazing stills and video capabilities. And in this video, what I did is I took previous rumors about the Canon EOS R1, where Craig at Canon Rumors placed it as a CR2, that the Canon EOS R1 is going to be a master of everything. So I took the current stills and video capabilities of cameras like the 1DX Mark III, the Canon R3, the Nikon Z9, and the Sony Alpha 1, and I just bumped them up a little bit more to give us a taste of what the Canon EOS R1 could be. We didn't get any new specifications in this video, but what we did get is some clarification on dates, and it certainly seems to make an awful lot of sense. Previous rumors, rated also at a CR2, had said that the date for the R1 would be late in 2021, and I assumed it would be much like the Nikon Z9, a late October announcement with shipping just before Christmas. Well, this rumor, or this leaked information about the date, goes a little bit further to state that unless there's major disruption to the supply chain, we are going to get a full-blown announcement later this year. But if the supply chain issues do cause more disruption, then we're going to get a development announcement instead, and this certainly makes a lot of sense. And if we do get a development announcement instead of a full-blown announcement, we can expect the R1 to be announced fully, probably in early January with something like a March shipping date. Craig went on further to talk about the dates. Now, normally a 1 series camera is refreshed every 4 years, the same with a 5 series camera. But this is very, very different because you see we're getting an architecture shift. We're moving away from DSLRs to mirrorless, and Canon is very far behind. They did release the 1DX Mark III in January of 2020. And at the time of the R3's rumored release, that will be some 3 years. But what is most significant, it'll be a year after the Nikon Z9 was announced and a full 2 years after Sony. If they wait the traditional 4 years, that's going to put them 3 years after the 1DX Mark III, 3 years after the Sony Alpha 1, and 2 years after the Nikon Z9, and I can't see Canon doing that. Canon has already admitted on several occasions by high-ranking executives that they are late to the mirrorless game and that they are stepping it up. They're focusing all their development on mirrorless cameras. Nikon was also very late. Nikon was right up there with Canon, being very late from moving over to mirrorless. But they've been a little bit quicker at adapting their full-frame mirrorless camera being announced in October of 2021, shipping right now. And so it leaves Canon unannounced with their flagship camera. What do you think? What do you think of the specifications going to be for the Canon EOS R1? Did you watch this video here where I talk about what I think we could see in terms of photo and stills capabilities? I'm truly excited by this camera. Being able to shoot with unlimited run and gun, also in studio, is a nice thing for video, but it's not enough to make me want to buy this camera. It depends on what other video capabilities this camera will be capable of, what other stills capabilities this camera is capable of, and what else it can do to provide a superior customer experience when it comes to shooting video. Video isn't all about dynamic range. It isn't all about low light. It isn't all about audio. It isn't all about frame rates and resolutions or detailed video. You see, it's a combination of all of those wrapped into workflow that is somehow simplifying what we do and how we deliver the outcomes that we're looking for. So in the R1, I'm looking for not just a minor bump up from what we've seen in previous cameras, but a shift in the user experience as well. And another thing that I mentioned in this video here that I talked about is that the 1 series camera quite often isn't a huge improvement over the 5 series, but it does beat it in every way in terms of video and stills, giving you 20% extra capability for, well, considerably more in price. And you see, that's what happens when you get to that leading, or as I sometimes call, the bleeding edge. It costs that much more to play at that level. In terms of price for the Canon EOS R1, I still think that $64.99 is a good price. And I know many are thinking $79.99 or even higher, but here's the problem. The camera market is shrinking, and yes, I know this is the professional level, but the Sony Alpha 1, $64.99. The Nikon Z9, it's $1,000 lower than their previous full-frame mirrorless flagship camera. Sorry, full-frame, it's a full-frame DSLR flagship camera. The Nikon Z9 sells for $54.99. And I think that price on the Nikon Z9 has rattled Canon just a little bit to think about their price. And while I can see them definitely going higher than Nikon Z9, if it's all that it promises to be, I can't see them pushing much higher than $64.99, other than adding maybe 2% a year for inflation, which brings it up to about $68.99. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And based on the optics of these 5 lenses that Canon Rumor says Canon is currently testing, which one would you rather see announced alongside the Canon EOS R1? And one other thing, I don't know if you noticed, but in those specifications of those lenses, I didn't see L series anywhere. Although I would be surprised if these aren't L series lenses. Wouldn't that be weird? Releasing a super telephoto or telephoto lens with an R1, a professional flagship full-frame mirrorless camera, but not an L series lens? No, I'm willing to bet they are going to be an L series lens. And again, we are only getting one of those, and the leading contender right now is the RF 500mm. And what was it, an F5? Yes, it was an F5DO IS USM. So this leaked information on the R1 today puts the announcement right around the September-October timeframe, which makes an awful lot of sense. So what I would expect now for the next several months is we're going to get more and more leaks on the Canon EOS R1. We're going to have a better idea of what the full frame characteristics of this camera are in both stills and video capabilities, enough so that you're going to know if this is a camera you're going to want to pre-order later on in the year. So I'm really excited to see what this has in store for us. We're also expecting to get an R7 announcement this month, so it looks like the Canon hype machine is turned on and it's set to low at this point, but I think things are going to heat up pretty soon. Again, if you want to know the latest information on all these cameras as they come out, go ahead and subscribe and choose all notifications, so as soon as I publish information, you'll be in the know. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Yes, it was an F5DO IS USM.